we're going to get into practice organization here in a little bit and kind of lay the groundwork for how some things you might want to focus on when you get in there for practices. But most importantly, the reason why we were attracted to Oz Park and we first met with Dave Siegel 2 years ago was Dave talked about building a league that was not based on winning and based on teaching fundamentals and teaching baseball the right way, kind of like when we were playing Little League. It was wood bat league. It was pure. It was simple. The coaches were pretty solid, I thought. We were taught the right things. The coaches put the time in. And that's kind of what attracted us to Oz Park, because that was their mission, and that's why we're here. You can teach fundamentals at the age of 4 and 5. And that's what has to be the focus, whether it's just basic throwing and catching. I mean, that takes, for a 4 and 5-year-old, you might go through all year just teaching throwing and catching. For your 6 and 7s, you might go all year teaching throwing and catching and fielding. It might take that one kid all year to catch a ball. It might be the last game, and all that work that you put in just so that kid could catch one ball is going to be totally worth it. Seeing the kid smile on that face and his face or her face when he or she catches that ball and all the work you put in. But that's what it might take. So you have to start understanding and setting some realistic expectations. You're here to coach. You're here to teach basic fundamentals. And that's what spring training was all about. The spring training model that we showed you guys is pretty much your practice model for the whole year, I would imagine, especially for your younger kids. Even some of your 9s, 10s, 11s are still going to have trouble throwing and catching. Even at the high school level, we have kids that have trouble throwing. I mean, all summer we were working, Dave and I were working with one of his shortstops. It seemed like all summer a 16-year-old kid couldn't throw the ball correctly. We spent, all summer all summer working with this kid, a 16-year-old kid, how to throw the ball correctly. So be patient, be persistent, hammer away at the same 3 or 4 or 5 fundamentals. Try not to get too far ahead of yourself. Okay? Again, I felt that in spring training, a few coaches were trying to get a little too far ahead of themselves and teach something the kids weren't ready for yet. So just be patient, focus on the basic fundamentals. And when you teach these fundamentals, you want the kid or the student athlete, you want to tell them what you expect of them, explain to them the skill, explain to them why they need to learn the skill, because the kids now are asking why. Back when I coached, or back when I was a player, I never dared ask the coach why, but now they all ask you why. So you got to explain why. All right, tell them this is why you want to learn how to throw the ball correctly. So you don't throw the ball up the first baseline. Oh, okay, that makes sense, coach. And do you want to throw the ball straight? They're all going to nod, yes. Okay, this is why you have to follow what I'm doing. Okay, that makes sense now. Okay, so you have to make sure you do that. Explain to them the skill in slow detail, and then show them the skill. Demonstrate it yourself so they can hear it, then they can see it. And then what's really valuable that Dave and I have realized the last couple years working with kids is show them the wrong way. Show them the technique that the kids are most likely going to do. So for example, if they were throwing and a lot of kids drop their arm and push the ball, show them this. Say, this is how you want to throw the ball. Reach back, step, follow through. You guys see that? Good. All right. Make sure all the kids are on board. This is what not to do. And show them that. So now they see, again, you've explained the skill, they've heard the skill, they've seen what to do, they've seen what not to do, and then you have them practice it in a safe environment, meaning that it's not a high-pressure situation. I did a clinic yesterday for 7 and 8-year-olds. It was 7 and 8-year-old girls. It was a softball clinic. Literally, all we did for 45 minutes was just play catch. That was my practice plan, play catch. Kept it simple.
And we had one of our spring training sessions. We had outfield practice, and every kid had his hand behind the glove. Well, that's wrong. And I waited for somebody to say something, and nobody said anything. So I had to stop and say, here's the way you do it. And I have no idea why players put hands behind their glove to make it squeeze more. Because you have your hands right here, and when the ball hits the glove, you put it in there, and then you're ready to throw. Not only the ball will try to pop out, your hand's right there, and then you're in perfect throwing position. Not when it's here. And, you know, and I see kids try to catch pop-ups, kids try to catch line drives, or kids try to catch thrown balls like that, and it's absolutely wrong. So you have to really be observant of if they're doing the wrong thing. We just wrote an article about teaching them the wrong way first. It's on our website, and it's, you know, show them the wrong way. Why the elbow up is wrong. Why the wrong grip. What's going to happen as a result of a wrong grip. What happens when you grip the ball too hard rather than grip the ball like an egg. Just stuff like that. You see players in big leagues throw the bat in the stands. You know why? They have such a loose grip because they got to get the bat started in a hurry. If you have a tight grip, you're stopping your own bat speed. You're stopping yourself from getting started. So they get a real light grip because they got to get it started. No stride, or 2 to 4 inches max, or just go like this and place it. And we got kids, you know, we had starting discussing hitting a little bit. They're striding like this. Well, you got to stop it right away. Say, okay, why do you do that? And here's what happens if you face a relatively fast pitcher. You do like that, the ball's already by you. So that's the reason.
So again, keep it simple. Focus on fundamentals. For the 4, 5, and 6s who weren't at spring training, it's pretty much the same model. Just work on throwing and catching, throwing and catching, throwing and catching. Whether it's catching a ground ball, catching a ball here, throwing the ball correctly. That's probably going to be your lesson, you know, your practice plan all year long. That's it. Maybe, you know, swinging the bat and working on following through.
And I know what some of the coaches say, this is going to be boring the whole year round. Well, it's not about you. It's about teaching them. Okay? And it might be boring, but you can make it, you can psych yourself up for it. Okay? And you see a little progress, and maybe you can individualize it, okay? We could just, some of these guys have improved to the point where we could go to the next step, but the other people, you know, it's not compartmentalizing the team, but it's just saying, hey, here's where you have to get to.
And I had fun yesterday. Again, yesterday's at clinic for girls, and we talked about the week before how to catch and throw, and we really went over that in detail. And then I just watched the girls play catch for 45 minutes. I had a lot of fun watching them because they started actually catching and throwing. After a half hour, they got better, and they got even better, and it was fun for me. It was fun for me to watch the progress.
I've always thought that defense is the most important part, which includes pitching. And you saw the World Series last year, the Giants and the Rangers. The Giants just pitched the heck out of the ball, and they made plays. And they did enough hitting. They did enough hitting to win, okay? Timely hitting. And that's the way the philosophy should be. And it's going to get back to that with the loss of steroids. So everybody's going to be looking for guys who can catch the ball, guys who can throw the ball, and guys that can run. Okay, when I was growing up, there was 9 guys that could throw the ball on one team. Now we're lucky to have 1 or 2. We have to develop throwers who turn into pitchers. And that's on you guys. It's on us to tell you guys how to do it the right way.
You might just have that one kid that just catching the ball is going to be the biggest struggle. Just keep hammering away at it. Even if it means you got to get rid of the baseball and take a rolled up sock and have them catch a sock so they're not afraid of the ball, just do something. But keep working on throwing and catching, throwing and catching, throwing and catching. All year long. All year long.